Their country is Joram. Our neighbor Rwanda is here, where getting a company registration takes you not even a day. And in Uganda here, bureaucracy. Yes, they are going to give you, I don't know, you can even take a year questioning the director, questioning the paperwork, telling you to go to the LC1, and from there, you're going to pay taxes even before you start making that business. Licenses is a tax. Telling me to first pay for a license before I start working is a tax. In a real sense, the government was supposed to give me the minimum requirement, and on fulfilling them is when I'm supposed to get a license, not to pay for it first, because I haven't earned. That's the point.
In Entebbe, we feel like we should add our voice to what is going on in the country. As a lawyer, we think it's important that we talk about something related to the law. Good morning. How things at Africa Liberty Foundation?
Yes, Joram, the African Liberty Foundation is doing well. We are assessing the policies that the government is actually impounding on the people, and we are looking closely at the global market, the geopolitics at play, and also looking at the livelihood of an everyday Ugandan. Basically, that's what's happening. I don't know how is Ali doing, and how are we faring in the freedom movement per se.
Yeah, Ali, we are doing very well. Currently, we are running. You see,
yes,
you are doing.
Yes. I've already picked out the one in Kutaka.
Yeah, see, on which we are. That is the program we are running currently.
Yeah.
But let's talk about freedom in Uganda. I want to first ask you, what is your philosophy for life?
Yes.
What are the guiding principles? Yes. What are those principles that guide your life?
Yes. My principles are not so many. I actually believe in a free world. So right from the economic sense, I am a philanthropist for free market economy and ideas. I believe that I don't own my life to anyone. I am not a servant of anyone. I believe things out of reason and logic, and I must act voluntarily for whatever I must do. I believe that we must live in harmonious society, but the utmost point is that I identify myself as an individual first before anyone and everyone else. Those are the guiding principles that I follow on a daily routine.
So, someone may be hearing free market.
Yes.
Or free society for the first time.
Yes.
What are those cardinal principles that the free market society follows?
The free market society is simply a society where a person has, we call them inherent rights, liberties to exercise what they want to exercise within the vastness of what they want to achieve. People, every day you wake up with a target of what you want to achieve in life. You have a right to pursue happiness through the things that you do. And we think that no one should have that limitation whatsoever unless when you are contravening or encroaching on someone else's rights or property. So yes. A free market environment is where people sell, people buy, is where people negotiate, is where we have exchange of goods and services freely without policies or programs or practices that limit how we do exchange. It is
and such environment is divided. It's not divided of laws.
Yes, not divided of laws. And if you look at the basic laws, actually from the inception of law is contract law. Contract law, there's one good principle called freedom of contracts, where it says that a person has the right to exchange a car for a matchstick, for as long as parties have, agreed. No one has been coerced. There has not been fraud or anything. It says that you can exchange anything, however big it is, for a small thing, for as long as that's what you want. And when you talk about laws, what comes at first play is property, rights, and laws. Yes.
Okay, before I go that side, the kind of law, we shall talk about it. The nature of law, we shall talk about that. But there are two things, the law and the golden rule. Yeah. The no harm principle.
Yeah.
What one which one do you take? Which of the two? In a civilized world, we believe at a certain point, me as a mean anarchist, I believe when people become civilized, they will not need a government, they will not need a system of spread law, that people will just understand that what belongs to me is mine. What if it is wrong to do something bad to someone, to steal his property or to harm him?
Yeah.
What do you think? The no harm principle, people following that nature, where they don't violate freedom of others, or we should have? Do you think that environment can be there? Can we achieve that environment?
We can achieve that environment.
But I think it is a long way. By nature, human beings are inherently weak. They are convinced to cause harm to others, and it is very, very difficult, and it will take us a long time.
You see, Joram, the conviction of the human beings to harm others is one which is built on the personates of the law, especially by the governing structures that we put in place. Many of the governments in the world have tried to build that, kind of work together, achieve together sort of arrangement. We've given it names. Some are calling it communism approach, others are calling it socialism approach, others are calling it, welfare principle. Names have come up. Names have come up. But I think we just have to have a system built on the law which respects what I have worked for and earned in good faith.
Yeah.
That's the point.
So Ayn Rand talked about objective law.
Yes.
And the law that treats everyone fairly, justly. And if you look at soil, he said, what belongs to me is mine, and what belongs to you. And that is the nature of justice.
Yes.
In comparison to Ayn Rand, the way I would relate to the law, the nature of the law, and the statement from Thomas Sowell, what is your comment on Uganda's law?
I think Uganda has one of the best laws in the world.
A law that makes the citizens demonstrate, the business people riot.
When it comes to the theory of it, but the law has been manipulated by the governance structures to work for them. As we what we call Bastiat, and of course Rand, and many of the people in the freedom movement have called it the plunder, called it the legal plan. So it's where you turn the law against the wishes of the people.
Is that the good law you're talking about?
No. What I'm saying is that if you look at the law on its own, it's not bad law.
How come
it's not bad law?
How come that Uganda constitution is being?
Because look at this.
Changed each time.
Look at this. Look at this, John. Why I'm saying the Ugandan law is not bad law. We're having a law, first of all, that says power belongs to the people.
Yes.
You get?
Yes, I
contend. It goes ahead to say that you see you have a right, all of us have a right to participate in trade the way we want. That is Article 21. You get? It goes ahead and says that you see, even in acquisition of property, there should be a sort of prompt and adequate payment, which is timely. You get? It doesn't defeat anyone from working, doesn't defeat anyone from venturing into whatever they want to venture. As long as
I see today the regulations. Look at the.
But I think
look at the licenses on sugarcane growing.
It's what I'm coming.
Licenses on Mira.
It's where I'm going to. So, but the problem is that time reached where the people in power were only putting their eyes to the seat and not focusing on the wishes of the people. And that's how they came up with what we call directive regulations, policies, which have now turned the law to be against the people. In the legal philosophy.
How do you relate that with power? How do you relate regulations in terms of the economy?
Of course, that's what power does. Power has the ability to turn the law against the people. You see, it's just clear that
I just want to get the distinctive relationship
between.
We see today they are imposing a regulation. I mean, a license on growing marijuana.
Yes.
Growing sugarcane and Mira.
Yes.
And you are talking that they are related with power.
They are related with power, absolutely.
How?
This is how it does. You see, whereas the law does not limit us from venturing into those businesses.
But there is a bar.
It's what I'm saying.
A person to venture in, you must pay 100 million
what I'm
And
saying,
if you look at Ugandans,
what I'm
there are
saying,
very
Joram,
few of them who can afford that.
what I'm saying, Joram, is this: that
Yes.
whereas the law does not limit us from venturing into those businesses,
But that is a limitation.
the government comes up to say that you see we have a better common good, which is a fallacy. Now they say if you're going to grow marijuana, we are going to have most of the youth being mentally affected because they're going to abuse the drugs, which for me I think is a wrong notion based on supporting a specific sector of the people. This is how it is done. Because if you put a license at 100 million, where we have 45% of the people of Uganda living below the poverty line, you get, you're simply saying that the majority of the people cannot afford to go into that business. That's the point. And even before, even when we didn't have the license, we didn't have as so many casualties of drug abuse than the government is asserting. So it is simply saying that this thing is profitable, but we are giving it to a specific class of people. That's what we call class. That's why they introduce licenses. In a free market world where we must all thrive, it should be open and free. Actually, there are countries, Joram, our neighbor Rwanda is here, where getting a company registration takes you not even a day. And in Uganda here,
Bureaucracy.
yes, they are going to give you, I don't know, you can even take a year questioning the director, questioning the paperwork, telling you to go to the LC1, and from there, you're going to pay taxes even before you start making that business. Licenses is a tax. Telling me to first pay for a license before I start working is a tax. In a real sense, the government was supposed to give me the minimum requirement, and on fulfilling them is when I'm supposed to get a license, not to pay for it first, because I haven't earned. That's the point. So, the question you are saying that how does power now relate to the law is that the government has backturned the law against the people by using its power to create the plan in the law that it favors its own class of people. Today, the people can afford the license of Mira and those who are working for the state. That's the point. Only those working for the state. The common Ugandan cannot. They cannot. A lot of Ugandans die without touching 100M. That's the point.
So I was reading the Ministry of Finance,
Yeah.
policy paper, and the Bank of Uganda. They're saying they're emphasizing the inclusion, financial inclusion.
Yes.
Also, last year we had a budget that was emphasizing the money economy.
Yes.
In relation to current environment, policies and politics.
Yes.
What is your comment on that?
What I talk about money economy and financial inclusion are only possible if the government puts up policies which support or which give leverage for everyone to be able to start cheaply, to access resources cheaply, to have factors of production in place cheaply, and also to have a tax regime which is not a parasite.
Is that the role of government?
You
for
get the
people
point?
to access cheap resources?
Yes, the role of government. It's the role of government.
I
Why?
think it's individual role.
It's not individual role.
And on the government has to create an environment.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. So, look at the times of Uganda to live in. Government comes and imposes policies on how to access resources. You get the point? If government made it free, then it would now come back to an individual to go and look for those resources. But now government is saying that you see, sand belongs to us. You get the point? That's why I'm saying that it's the role of the government to remove such barriers. They are not necessary in the free market. In the free world, they're not necessary. Government comes up and says that you see, we are putting this tax on this kind of raw material which is coming from abroad. Government, that's not the role of government. Government is supposed to say, if Ugandans want to manufacture this sort of product and they need this raw material, then it must come here cheaply. Outsourcing for raw materials and a bigger market has been the role of the market. Look at franchises. Look at multinational companies. Many of them are being pushed in other states by their governments. Today in the free world, government has got a role in the marketplace. It has got a role of looking for or supporting entrepreneurs by deepening their roots from where the market is supposed to be accessed. And it's not only under regional integration, but should be a global order. But Uganda cannot participate in that because, first of all, it declined on the concept of free market world. The tax regime that we have, the policies that the government introduced on the products that we have cannot compete with the market that we have. And that's the biggest problem that Uganda is not seeing. If you look at the products which are coming from Uganda, one of the laws that are good on agricultural products, they're not supposed to be taxed. So that farmers can grow them and then they take them to market ready and buy them.
So,
But I've had in the recent demonstration by the traders saying that now, even when the law is in place, the enforcers go ahead to tax agricultural products. Now, these are some of the changes I'm talking about.
so
Why I'm
we are
saying
going
that
to talk about the taxes in Uganda. So let's talk about IFRIS
yes,
and how important it is or how dangerous it is to the economy in relation to what the business men in Uganda are talking about. You see, they are saying this is a double tax or multiple tax.
yes,
Someone is taxed at the border, taxed when he's a wholesaler, taxed when he's a retailer. You see that taxes are doubling or tripling. And the laws you said that they are good in theory, I don't think that such a law is good. And actually,
theory,
I don't think
but bad in
you
practice.
can tax the economic prosperity.
You cannot. You can't
In
tax.
relation to tax laws in Uganda, the legislation related to operation of business,
Yes.
do you think we are making a progress or the laws are the one making the 63 businesses that start and the biggest business collapsing in Uganda?
I think that the law that we have in right now is a can of worms to the economy. It's a can of worms to Ugandans. And before we know it, we shall even lose what to eat. It's going to be very soon. Because Parliament passed many of these laws, and I think they never consulted the economic sense and muscle of Ugandans, and this is because of course, power, putting incompetent policymakers that cannot reason out and see how nations have grown. The the IFRIS per se is a system employed by government to enable it to collect taxes. And it was to create a friendly environment between the revenue authority and the traders per se. But now, the, with its introduction, people did not benchmark exactly how the economy was performing. So I want to give you the genesis of how traders are suffering in Uganda, so that we can get to the point. Now, many of the products that you see on the Ugandan market are not manufactured here. They come from abroad, especially Dubai, China, and Japan. The Asian tigers are the ones which are the main producers of the things that we use here. Now, a trader like Joram will go to China and purchase maybe clothes, you know, and remember, majority of them don't have the financial muscle to order a full container. You get, so they have what to call container leaders, meaning we might be like 7 people and we order our container.
Sharing the cost of
Yes, we share
importing.
the cost. So at reaching, all of us can. Now, at the borders, the things are crossing in the country, they're charged. They're charged in the name of the container holder. You get. But remember, after reaching Uganda or the central trading district, each one of us takes their package as it comes. So meaning, uh, the products, even if they paid tax in the name of the container leader, in the sense of URA, I, who only had a passion, did not pay that tax. That's the presumption. And the first mistake they did is that the URA failed to agree with the traders on the real cost of production. You see, you can buy uh, a kilo of jeans at $5 from China, and URA will tell you, according to us, first we
And
presume that
$3.4
first we presume that you see that is $8 now. So they failed to agree that we can share the right information of price tags as it is. So they charge you basing on their price, not on the price that you bought it. That's why at URA they are charging in kilograms. and yet for you, you bought in price, on a price quotation. They never sold to you in kilograms. And yes, you are here once you said you to charge you in kilograms. Now that becomes the first problem. So you pay higher than what we are actually supposed to pay as products entering the country. Then from there, you reach as a trader, the container was not yours, remember, but you already paid because as a container leader, you shared costs on that. Now, yes. Now, when you bring your merchandise into the stores, you are also what? Charged. And now, remember, there are already substantial taxes that you're already paying. You've already paid for the license, which is supposed to be monthly. You're already paying for your utilities. If you have labor, you're already paying them. All that price is going to be imposed on the products at the final consumer. Now, where do we have a problem with IFRIS? The problem with IFRIS is that because it is automatic system, now the system is automated. So it will look and say, Kakanda, the container leader, cleared his burden of the duty. But now, Joram, whose name never appeared as they were clearing, didn't pay the what. So now the system is going to compute all that and impose it on you. That's one of the problems that traders are crying it out. That you see, we didn't have the muscle to purchase a full container, but we contributed in the clearing of that container because we owned part of the luggage. Now the system is going to compute all that for you and give it to you at the end. It's a problem. And then even when the retailer comes, you're now getting from the wholesaler, you also have to pay now that 18%. That's why you've seen that when you have a television set that you're selling at 100,000, and you tell a customer that this is 100,000, when you put the receipt into the system will automatically impute, generate the 18% on. Now you have to tell the customer again that you see now the prices are changed. Now that's a problem that comes with the IFRS. They are not against it. And now there's also the ideological point that we had in our casual discussion of saying that you see, even the IFRS system is a cost of its own to the businesses because it has to be maintained. You have to learn it. Sometimes people are being told. Now you have to learn it. You have to pay for, it is using your power. It's not using state power. It's using internet. It can get faulty. Now it's you to maintain it. The working conditions.
So, and those costs are related to taxation.
Yeah, they're related to absolutely related to taxation.
It is an infrastructure for taxation.
Yes.
And the people who say that IFRS is a tax.
I think in a little sense they are right to say that it's tax because now those prices must be compensated for by the buyer at the end of the day.
And in relation to taxation.
Yes.
So what is that impact? Where do you see what is that impact of taxation?
So now what that
system in Uganda,
what that implies is
in
that
relation to the growth of the economy, in relation to how the tax regulates productivity,
yes. Now
creation of job, creating welfare of the people in the long run, the quality of the good consumed. If you look at Botswana, recently it's been one of the countries that is growing at the fast rate.
Yes.
Because of favorable environment.
People-centered tax system. It was a people-centered tax system.
You look at environment which is very favorable. In comparison to the global world, in comparison to East Africa, you see Uganda has the highest VAT.
Yes.
That is 18. You see Kenya, it has 16.
Yes.
What competition can we have? And what is the impact in the market?
You're right to say that, Joram, that you see you cannot tax prosperity.
You cannot tax yourself to prosper. You cannot tax the economy to prosper.
Yes. So the real discussion here is that you see when we have such taxes, it means that on the economic part of growth is that people will not have the financial muscle to purchase. That's number one. The traders will not have the financial muscle again to go back and get those products. That's number two. And number three is that the government itself will not be able to tax in the future again because many businesses are going to collapse since they can no longer have people who have the capacity to buy. And then what that means is that a lot of money is going to be spoiled in the stores. Products are going to stay in the stores. They will not have the ability to come out on the market. So meaning that companies or businesses which were employing people will not have a layoff of those people. Why? Because the taxes we are paying could not now enable a business person to hire other people. You get, and where we have a lot of, I mean, these big businesses which need numbers, meaning they'll have to collapse because now they can no longer have muscle to pay for labor to run them. So the economic sense is that what the government, the myopicness of the government is that it fails to reason beyond its mouth and nose. It's just thinking in a small space. Because if businesses start collapsing today, who will tax in the future? It's like self-poisoning yourself, saying that since I've not died today and the poison was sweet, let me add it to the table on dinner. That's what the government is doing. Eventually, after a week, you'll die of. That's what it's doing. So the parasitic tax regime normally kills the economic sense of everything. Unemployment rises, you have retarded economic growth, and you have a lot of suffering.
Inflation.
Of course, inflation is just obvious and direct because now money loses. And when
Increase the cost of
yes,
production
when that comes to that, meaning that even
and increase prices.
yes, government will not have now the money to finance its mandated duty. You will not have a better police system. You will not have a better legal system. And what people resort to, especially government officials, will be to taking bribes and corruption, and everything goes in turmoil. The tax system or regime is at the foundation of a free market society. It is at the foundation and at the peak of it. So that is where we have the biggest problem. Look at Joram the situation in Uganda today. How many people can afford to have 3 meals a day, complete meals? You get, the numbers are declining. How many people are able to take their children to schools competently now? The numbers are declining. How do you see uh, the healthcare system? How do you see the roads? We had a previous demonstration on roads in the capital city and the rest of it. The government cannot have the
Social
financial
media
muscle. Yes,
exemption.
yes. The government cannot have the financial muscle. It taxes traders and the business world in that sense. So that's what I can say.
So I was going to ask you the impact of taxation in Uganda in relation to government expenditure. When we look at the government size today, it is very big, and every day it is expanding in size. And actually, the cost, the salary of the people working in government today, we see the parliament is increasing its bill. The salary of speaker, deputy speaker, and the leader of opposition is increasing. The state house is increasing its budget, and the supplementary budget is every day running in parliament. Every day, government is borrowing money. Where are we going economically? What is the impact of Uganda economic trajectory?
You see,
Because we see today we are over 95, I think, in trillions in the debt,
yes,
and the impact of debts and the budget of Uganda is the loopholes. I mean, the potholes we see, the schools that the poor school infrastructure we see, and all the services we look at today in
yes.
the country.
When it comes to uh, the tax system vis-a-vis government, I think
Externally,
yes, this is where we've lost it as a country. In the first place, a 45, a 42 to 45 million people does not need a 500 capacity member of parliament.
529 something.
You cannot have,
Ministers,
for sure, you cannot have ministers who are having more than 5'8". You can't have the office of the president and have the office of the car at the same time you have the office of the RDC. And the RDC has deputy RDC. And they have RCCs doing the same job. The duplicity in the government. The communism approach, that is the Marxist approach that the government of Uganda is employing, is making government to be a source of employment. Everyone is fighting to work in the government. People are running away from
actually,
entrepreneurship.
government in worker, government is politics in Uganda. It's the most high, is the
One of the
high
highly
paying
paid
jobs.
jobs that the people can say, a person can say the company to contest for member of parliament.
Yes, I always want to ask people as we conclude,
Yes.
what is the where did we where what is the morality? What is the theory that makes government officials pay themselves more highly
Where do they get the
than
authority?
the taxpayer who actually literally are supposed to be the bosses? And those bosses do not have good roads, do not have drugs in the hospital as they claim, do
Security.
not have good education and the insecurity.
Yes.
And most people say it is the law. And don't you think there is a mismatch between the law? That the law in Uganda that has not taught Ugandans to defend themselves,
Yes.
to fight against the laws that
That
are
is right.
plundering them.
That is right.
There is a problem with you talked about the theory of Uganda.
Yes.
The same law is corrupting Ugandans,
Yes.
and at the same time, it is being used to plunder Uganda.
Yes. The
As we
theory.
conclude in
The,
1 minute.
the theory of the law is okay. The practice one which is bad. Remember the law.
So what should the law do?
The law is supposed to look at Ugandans as free individuals. The law
But
must
we see the law in Uganda acting as parasites.
the acting as that's what I'm saying, that the law must look at you. The law must actually serve the interest of the people at the expense of those in power. That's what's supposed to be done.
But today we see that those in power, the kings,
At the queen and the kings, and they have actually built an economic
and
dynasty
they say the laws
over
are
the
said.
taxpayer. The laws are there on their side because time reached a point where the middle class entered into politics and is now influencing everything at the expense of the common man. That is it. People don't know that even now fighting for your rights, the government is going to use your tax to beat you off the street and take you back home.
What do we do to turn the law towards the side of citizens?
We either come up with an amicable strategy within the House of Representatives here in Uganda, which is the parliament, or people have got to use force to fight for what belongs to them. Or otherwise, those in power are actually fighting every day to make sure that no one steps somewhere there.
Okay, let's end it here. Thank you very much for listening to us. Basically, Jordan, we've been here talking about free market ideas. We're liberating on laws, the current policies that are trying to impede the progress of Uganda and the world at large. I want to meet you in our next session. Thank you very much. We'll meet again.